Auburn fans, your new OC is Phillip Montgomery, also going to be the quarterback's coach, but what can you expect from how this offense is going to look in 2023? The general flavors for me are fast, space, quarterback whisper, a lot to unpack here, but let's go back to that first one I was just talking about. It's going to be fast. It's going to be a high-pace, up-tempo kind of offense, which has a lot of benefits. First of all, it keeps you from being able to sub if you're the defense. Remember, you can't sub as a defense unless we sub as an offense. So if we get rolling and we find a personnel that you're in that we like, we're just going to hold you prisoner. We're just going to put that fence up on the sideline. You can't sub. You got to just wait till we honestly do what we want to do offensively. So you either have to call a timeout, maybe fake a little injury, and that's a whole other game in itself, but that adds another defender to the game as well. It adds another, asset for the offense, not a defender. It adds a whole other offensive player, and that's the 12th man where you're just going to be tired. And when you're tired, your decision-making, your wisdom, it falls apart just a little bit. You and I both know what we're talking about. I'm the linebacker. I've been out there for 4 plays in a row, 3 of them in first downs, and I'm seeing ghosts when I see the motion come across the formation. You just ran a jet sweep. I'm talking fast here because that's how the offense is going to feel. And when that jet sweep comes across and you flow with that wide receiver coming across the formation, take 2 steps the wrong direction. Inside zone. Coming back across the formation. Occupying that gap that you just left as a linebacker, and all because you're tired. See what I'm saying here? That's a whole nother advantage for the offense to have. If you have not yet subscribed, would love to have you a part of this. Shout out to all the Auburn faithful that have joined us so far. Also follow me on the socials at JDPakel on Twitter as well as on Instagram. So appreciate that. Like I said, space is going to be the ally here for Phillip Montgomery in this offense. They're going to stretch out the defense. Think about what Tennessee did this past season with having those wide receivers lined up all the way out to the sideline. Guess what that does to what we call the overhang defender, which is just a fancy way to say the linebacker on the outside or the safety that's rolled down. I have to make a decision if I'm that player. Do I want to add into the run game, or do I want to try and split the difference and play in space and help with the pass game? Whatever I do, I'm wrong, more than likely. Because if I'm out wide, I'm too far away from the line of scrimmage, I'm too far away from the action happening near the offensive line. That's one less defender that can help add in and stop the run. Phillip Montgomery, we'll talk about that run game in a second here, but he'll do that to you. Now, if you want to just try and overcommit and play in that box and say, okay, you know what, you're going to do a lot of things to us, but running the football, we're not going to let that be one of them. Then our receivers, they get to go to work. Now, to be fair, the playmaker spot for the Auburn Tigers in 2023, I expect them to go into the portal post-spring and maybe shore that up just a little bit, but there's going to be some opportunity here to make some plays. All right, we're waiting for somebody to step up at wide receiver. It's going to be a position of importance, obviously, especially in this offense, but there's going to be a lot of space on the outside to work if that overhang player plays close to the line of scrimmage. Phillip Montgomery, one of his concepts is having a run play called, but then also just giving a choice route to the receiver on the outside, where he basically just says, if you see green grass, you run to that green grass, we'll throw you the rock. Obviously, there's more complexities baked into that, but I was talking to a receiver that played for Phillip Montgomery at Baylor, and he told me about a specific concept where they call Marvel, and it's just hilarious. It's called Marvel, quite honestly. The receiver just runs a go route. And when he gets tired, rather after he runs that first rep, he hits the sideline, somebody else rotates in, he goes deep. And guess what? He goes out, he goes deep. Like, that's just the level of freedom that receiver has. And then also that speaks to the level of aggressiveness that Auburn could have. Now, I don't know if they're going to implement Marvel into the formation or into rather their playbook, but the fact that that's something that existed before, I think is hysterical, and I think peels back the curtain just a little bit into what Auburn is going to be and how they're going to go about attacking going forward. Now, one other thing. He's a quarterback whisperer, is Phillip Montgomery. And that term gets thrown around. Oh, he's a QB guru. He's got that in his Instagram bio, and he's got all this real content of guys going through cone drills. Like, that's what you think of when you see quarterback guru or hear quarterback guru. Now, I don't pretend to know Phillip Montgomery's Instagram prowess, but when you look at his resume, the number of quarterbacks he's worked with and the different play styles they have speaks volumes and should excite Auburn fans about Robby Ashford. RG3 worked with him, worked with Case Keenum, Bryce Petty, Nick Florence, Kevin Cobb, all guys that were really successful at the college level, but again, different styles of play. RG3, we're going to let him cook in the run game. We're going to do a lot of zone read and allow him to get out in space and use that track speed. Case Keenum, good football player, probably not a track speed guy, but a great thrower of the football. We're going to allow him to play to his strengths. And Albert Einstein has a quote where he talks about if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, that fish will grow up the rest of its life thinking it's stupid. They're not going to ask a fish to climb a tree. This is what I'm trying to tell you. Robby Ashford is going to play to his strengths here in this offense. They're going to maximize what they have in-house. Again, that's assuming that's Robby Ashford's job that he ends up winning. So we'll see how that happens in spring. But on top of all this, you think about, the wide splits. I've told you about how they're going to throw the football. They're going to potentially take a lot of shots deep and be aggressive. Like that's who they've been in the past. But also, Phillip Montgomery wants to run the rock. They're going to play with tempo. They're going to run the rock at you. He's got a history of calling a lot of power schemes where we pull the backside guard and we get downhill and we just play physical with you. From his time at Tulsa, they also did a fair amount of inside zone. So we're just going to have our linemen sort of make a crease for the running back, and we're going to block a zone and let them work off of that. So that's encouraging. You can expect them to play with an H-back, so sort of a tight end fullback hybrid near the line of scrimmage, and he's going to add in and help block in that picture. I'm excited to see what happens here because it is more so the mold in which college football is continuing to trend towards offensively. Again, Jeff Levy at Oklahoma is a comp here. I think Tennessee and Josh Heupel is a comp here. I'm not saying it's going to be the exact same results, but there is a track record of success for Phillip Montgomery, and the willingness to run the football as well as be explosive in the pass game, I think, is really exciting. Okay, so times are changing at Auburn. This is going to be a different offense than you saw in years past, and they're going to be explosive. They're going to be up-tempo, high-octane, and they're going to play to Robby Ashford's strengths or whoever's QB1 for the Tigers. So if I'm an Auburn Tiger fan, again, I'm waiting with bated breath for that spring game. Could be some fireworks in Jordan Hare. We appreciate you rocking with us. Nick, break, lifting heavy. Make sure you're locked in. Hit the bell. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss when we go live. We want you a part of this. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at JD Piquel. Want to hear from y'all. Do more of what you want to see. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. We're going to keep the party rolling, and we will see y'all next time. Hey, y'all. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also, be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.